Welcome back. Just a reminder that it's helpful to have your curriculum, facilitator packet, and participant packet available so you can follow along as we walk through today's session. Let's jump in. This week, the curriculum begins to open space for group sharing. Group sharing gives 1 to 2 people each session about 5 to 7 minutes each to share any part of their story they choose with the group. Up to this point, participants have spent several weeks learning skills to help their bodies calm, practicing how to notice emotions, and building inner resources like safe space, protector, and nurture. People have had time to practice staying present and regulated before speaking about personal experiences. Group sharing can be very meaningful, but it needs to move slowly. There is no rush. Every group develops trust at a different pace, and that's okay. What matters most is that participants feel safe, respected, and in control of their own participation. Choice remains central. No one is required to share. Participants decide how much or how little they want to say. Even starting to share and then choosing to stop is a healthy use of choice. If no one volunteers to share a part of their story in a session, that's okay. You can simply move on to the next activity. By spreading sharing across the remaining weeks, everyone who wants to share will have space while still leaving time to continue learning tools and working with story. In most groups, 1 or 2 people sharing each week works well. Keeping sharing brief helps the whole group stay steady. A 5 to 7 minute limit is not about cutting people off. It helps prevent overwhelm and supports emotional balance. Let participants know you're available after the session if they want to continue sharing their story, and maybe plan to leave a little time after the sessions from this point forward. As sharing begins, pay attention not only to the person speaking, but also to the group. Listening to someone else's story can bring up strong reactions. If needed, a co-facilitator can step out with a participant, guide slow breathing, and help them settle before returning. This is part of caring for the group. This week, you will share first. This is not about sharing everything. It's about modeling how to share one small, contained piece of a story. Preparing ahead using the Sharing My Story worksheet found in the facilitator packet can help you stay focused and grounded. The purpose of group sharing is not breakthroughs or full disclosure. It's about connection, being heard, and learning that it's possible to speak and listen while staying present and supported. To begin the session, welcome the group, briefly asking about their experience writing out their event and review last week's content. You can gently remind participants that practicing these tools is like adding small amounts of clean water to their cup, just like in the demonstration from session 1. Next, move into the emoji exercise. This activity helps participants arrive emotionally, not just physically. Many people come into the room carrying a lot without stopping to notice how they're actually feeling. Place the cutout emoji cards from your facilitator packet in the center of the room. Ask participants to choose one emoji that represents how they're coming into the group today. We use images instead of words on purpose. When emotions are mixed or hard to name, pictures often help people recognize how they feel more easily. This exercise focuses on the present. It's not about story or explanation, just noticing. After participants choose an emoji, break into pairs and remind them to use their 3 listening questions as their partner shares about how they're arriving today. This activity also helps you sense the room. Without asking direct questions, you begin to notice whether the group feels heavy, tired, tender, or lighter than usual. That awareness can help you pace the rest of the session. Next, bring the group back together and transition into group sharing. Let participants know that from this week forward, there will be space each session for 1 or 2 people to share a difficult event from their past. Take time to clearly explain how sharing will work. Safety and trauma-informed groups comes from knowing what to expect. When people understand the structure, they're better able to relax. Emphasize choice again. Sharing is always optional, and participants may stop at any time. Saying this out loud helps restore a sense of control that trauma often takes away. Explain the structure of sharing. Participants will choose an event or part of their story they want to share, and will focus on what happened, how they felt, and what was the hardest part. Keeping sharing contained helps both the speaker and the group stay regulated. Clarify expectations for listeners. The group's role is to listen with attention and respect, no advice, no fixing, no judgment. Simply being present is enough. Normalize that listening may bring up emotions or memories. If that happens, participants can use their tools. Deep breathing, protector, or stepping out briefly if needed. This is part of the work. Once expectations are clear, let the group know you'll share first. Keep your sharing within 5 to 7 minutes. Using a timer helps model boundaries and shows that sharing doesn't mean telling everything. It means telling something safely. After sharing, the group does not need to respond or solve anything. This time is about being witnessed while staying grounded. Over time, this builds trust and connection. One story at a time, participants learn that healing happens through safety, presence, and community. Next, guide the group through a few rounds of deep breathing, or play a minute or two of the audio file if you prefer. Then, move into the story of the prodigal son. As usual, listen to the story once all the way through, and then again in sections. Invite participants to imagine themselves as different characters in the story. If you're using the audio file, listen ahead of time so you're comfortable with the pauses. After the story, you'll move into the Nurturer resource. The Nurturer is a core resourcing practice from EMDR. It helps strengthen internal experiences of care, comfort, and emotional safety, especially for people who did not consistently receive nurturing when they were vulnerable. Many trauma survivors learned early that they often had to handle things on their own. Over time, this can lead to beliefs like, I don't deserve care or I shouldn't need help. The Nurturer resource gently begins to challenge those beliefs. This exercise is not about replacing real relationships or ignoring pain. It helps the body experience what responsive care feels like. When imagery includes the senses, people often notice real physical changes, such as slower breathing, softer muscles, or less emotional intensity. Using the prodigal son story with this exercise is intentional. The story centers on welcome and care at a moment of shame. Connecting that experience with present-day safety allows healing without forcing people back into painful memories. The goal is not dependence on imagery, but greater internal safety, self-compassion, and strength. For homework, participants return to their event log and choose another low-intensity event. They write what happened, how they felt, and what was the hardest part. If emotions are difficult to name, remind them they can use the feelings chart or describe physical sensations. Both are valid ways of noticing how their body is feeling. Afterward, participants practice bringing in their protector, either staying with the memory or moving into the safe space. The focus is noticing that distress can lessen when support is present. They'll continue green light activities, choosing a couple each day. Emphasize consistency rather than doing everything perfectly. Be sure to send the Nurture audio file this week so participants can continue practicing outside the group. To close, check for questions about homework, confirm next week's details, and end with a short prayer, thanking God for his care and protection and for the ways he meets us with strength and tenderness. Thank you for continuing to show up with steadiness and care. I'll see you next time for session 4.